Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Fireside Casts. We have an exciting match tonight. Going to be main upper bracket finals. So, of course, winner of this game. Going to be moving on to grand finals on the winner's side. It's going to be Chief Keef versus Great Friends. I'm joined tonight by M17. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Looking forward to this match. We have Doctor underscore on production tonight, but yeah, this is the first seeded team versus the second seeded team. So what you expect in the upper bracket finals. In terms of matchups, I guess we can go over those shortly. But the first thing I think we'll do is we'll go over the rosters really quickly. On Great Friends, which is the first seeded team, it's Pocket Scout is Sears, Flank Scout is Gimme, Pocket is JJ or Jello Jiggler. Romer is Amity, Demo is Chocolate, and Coin is Medic.
And then for Chief Keef, we've got Cormy and AC-130 on Scouts, Kateo and 2x4 on Soldiers. We have AT or Azan Tariq on Demo, and then Gundin is the Medic. These are actually all names I, for the most part, are pretty familiar with, which I can't really say much for main anymore. It's been quite a few seasons since I've played in this div. But I know that Sears actually is a former teammate of mine from a long time ago, and from what I understand, is a bit of a standout player this season. So definitely someone to look out for. But what are your take, or what is your take on the matchup here?
Yeah, definitely. Sears is someone to look out for. Sears have won main on Medic all the way back in season 9, so 9 seasons ago, or 8 seasons ago, because this is season 17 of main. And then just won Scout and IM last season, and is now doing really well in main, and has a lot of good calls from what I've heard. So I think that'll help this team. On the other side, I think it's honestly maybe a little bit more balanced, but AC-130 is also known for his calling. I think it's maybe a little bit unorthodox, but it's definitely he's still known for his calling as well. So you're going to be looking out for. I'm assuming the combo scouts are going to be taking a lot of charge in this match, like you'd see in other games. And looking up the previous matchup, the only time these teams faced was in week 3 on Clear Cut, which is not being played tonight, and Great Friends won that 4-1. But in terms of the maps tonight as well, if we didn't mention Snakewater map 1, Metalworks map 2, and Bagel if we need is our decider.
Yep. So yeah, exciting stuff. Of course, starting out here on Snakewater, pretty common map, all things considered. Definitely in that pug rotation. Although I would say Metal and Bagel are more polarizing probably than Snakewater. I mean, there are definitely more players out there that either love or hate Metalworks and love or hate Bagel. Compared to Snakewater, you're going to have more kind of median opinions, I suppose, there. Although you can find people that love and hate every map. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, of course, too much about how either teams play, so I'm not too sure about how Snakewater is going to shake out as far as favorites are concerned. Obviously, there's a reason that Great Friends are picking it, so definitely a map that they're going to feel comfortable on.
Yeah, looking at the past matchups, Great Friends won 5-1 and 5-0 on Snakewater, whereas Chief Keef won 4-3 and then had a bye week, so I think that makes sense. In terms of Metalworks, Chief Keef won both their games 5-0, whereas Great Friends game 3. And then for Bagel, Great Friends won 4-0 and 4-1 in their Bagel games, whereas Chief Keef won 4-0 and 4-3. So I think it makes sense based on the records. And on average, like one of those teams was a playoff team, so it wasn't like complete pushovers or anything like that on these maps. But I'm curious to see if there's anything new. I think I've been hearing that. Chief Keef had a bit of a talk before tonight, so I wonder if we'll see any like new crazy strats that they're trying out. Maybe they tried out some stuff in scrims the night before, but I'm curious to see if they have anything new or if this is just going to be Great Friends continuing their dominance, because I believe they haven't lost a single game this season, if I have that correctly. Yeah, they haven't lost a single game. And the only other thing to mention, yeah, they haven't lost a single game, which is very important.
Yeah, and Honestly, I don't. I mean, historically, the team that has gone undefeated has been kind of cursed in playoffs and doesn't actually win the div. Although I don't know if that's still a consistent thing that happens anymore. But that being said, not having lost a game throughout the entire season, in many cases, can mean that you're just a step above the competition. But in other cases, it might mean that maybe you're more prone to get a little more complacent, or you're just not feeling the fire underneath you in the same way that those second or third place or third seeded teams might, and they're going to be putting in a lot of work and kind of catch up in the postseason in ways that you don't expect. But I don't know. At this point, we're pretty much just waiting for Gundam to get in and then for the teams to rup. Do you have any score predictions here for Snakewater?
I think there's going to be a bit of stalemating. Excuse me, just because it's Snakewater. I think we're going to see some of that on Snakewater and Metalworks. I'm going to go. I think I'm going to go 4-2 in favor of Great Friends on map 1. And something else to note as well, by the way, is the loser of this match will go on to face the winner of Super TF or Omniside, excuse me, in the lower bracket finals. Any score predictions from you?
Man, that's a tough one. I think that. Oh man, I think it might be a 3-2. And just to be different, I'll say for Chief Keef, even though this is Great Friends' map pick. All right, on the topic of stalemating.
Oh no.
I mean, we are in Snakewater. And of course, Snakewater is a pretty interesting map, all things considered, because it does play differently from your sort of processes and your process likes. Because for starters, I mean, second is just completely different in the sense that it's very easy to sort of dry push two and take a lot of space on it, meaning that you don't really have to worry that much about having ad and how you're going to get through second. Usually a pretty easy pathway through lower. But on the flip side, last can be really difficult. And especially in even Ubers, the quote unquote banny gun, which notably is none of the guns you see here in lower. But the banny gun on last kind of watches everything, contains everything, and with a soldier watching lower lobby, which is kind of your main way of spamming that out, it can be very difficult to break Snakewater last. Most of the people for whom Snakewater is one of their less enjoyed maps, it's usually because of the last. The mid and the second are much less offensive in that manner.
Yeah, and in terms of something also important to note on Snakewater is this map is notorious for some particularly nasty angles that I'm sure these teams will be aware of. I mean, they're in top 2 teams in main playoffs currently, but they're still very nasty to note. In terms of snipers, I believe it's going to be Gimme on on Great Friends, who would be the sniper for that team. And I think if we see a sniper on Chief Keef, it's probably going to be AC 130. So those are the players to look out for that swap. I wouldn't be surprised if we also see a bit of spy action from 2x4 or Kateo. I'm not sure who would do anything like which one of them would do something, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see some spy, especially here on Snakewater.
Yep, we do have Chief Keef readying up here, so going to be going live shortly. That being said, yeah, definitely a lot of different options to break that last point. Sniper can be nasty because you have that shutter peak, and if the med's not playing in the exact right spot and only near the right spot, then you can just get a quick med drop with that, or peeking the demo's door on the right side. The demo is playing a little. If you catch him lacking, basically, you might be able to get that pick and just pressure that door much harder. So there's definitely some potential there. Spy, of course, can use in multiple different ways, because you can get the stab, but of course a med playing with their back to the wall in a dispenser or something like that going to be pretty difficult to get the drop on, but you can kill a demo or a player on another door, or sap the gun, because the gun, of course, is going to be really important for actually containing those doors. might be able to make something happen. And worth mentioning as well, I don't know how much of it has trickled down into main at this point, but definitely seeing an invite and just in general, Sixes players going for more aggressive options in the last, more 3-mans, more 4-mans, being more than happy to potentially give up second to get a really, really aggressive and strong sack off. Maybe get that force, maybe make the other team feel like they kind of have to push out, otherwise you have ad or something like that, or they're just giving up too much of an opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, something just that you mentioned earlier as well in relation to that is that Snakewater can be pretty easily refought, especially when the enemy team is trying to cap. So a common strategy when you have that, 3 or 4 person sack is then to have potentially, if you can go fast enough, you can potentially refight, prevent them from even capping second. And the other thing to note is that since we're only on like a 4-minute round timer, you have to be very careful with potentially pushing out because holding last is usually easier when you have holding is usually, I'd say, probably easier when you have a sentry gun, and it's probably easier to hold last than second. So oftentimes you may not even want to push out. But as I say all that, we are going live into this first mid of Snakewater. Go ahead.
Yeah, I've got my eyes on AT for this first mid, and actually Amity immediately going to go behind through kitchen. It's going to be a threat, not at the exact moment, but down the line. Double bomb comes in from blue soldiers, land on chocolate, get that pick. However, the threat from behind is here now. Gundam gonna get bombed from Amity, and actually does get cleaned up by Amity and Sears. Jello Jiggler was in the mix there as well. Gonna look like a very... Ooh, okay, I almost spoke too soon there. Kateo trying to salvage the pick onto coin, but no, it's gonna end up being basically a full wipe for the blue team, and yeah, full ad for Great Friends into last.
Yeah, this is really good for them. They're going to take their time. They could have potentially tried to go fast, but I think because their players were still capping and they were down the demo, they didn't want to, even though there were some players down. So they're going to take their time, spot everything out. Of course, we have a gun which was spammed down early by Jello Jiggler. That's going to be very helpful for Great Friends. No early gun, which is going to be, a lot easier. Here comes the direct Uber from Shutter. Chocolate not getting much for now, just sticking off the point. No kills happening. Full left side control from Great Friends. Kateo is fighting, but I think is going to get caught out. But there's a lot of space here, so it may still be pretty difficult for Great Friends to try to recontest this. Sears gets very low, although here comes the double bomb.
Yeah.
Amity grabs 2. A third kill? No, not a third kill, but one scout. Sears did get piped. This is very tough, but right at the last second, Gundam does get Uber. There's going to be one spawner on the side of Kateo. He's going to have to work his way out here to meet with his team because they need his help for this fight, and it's not going to be enough. Great Friends are going to cap that first point and win the first round.
Yeah, that was just absolutely textbook last push there from Great Friends. Not only with the early gun spam before the Uber even gets popped, fantastic there, but even with the Uber not getting any kills, they just chilled out, played aside. Kateo ended up getting caught, got a little too eager, and even then Great Friends didn't jump the gun. They made sure everyone was healthy, bombed across, collected their picks. Even though blue got Uber, they just waited it out with their kills and won nonetheless. But yeah, we are looking at another mid.
Yeah, just a bit of early spam. Nobody really wanted to commit too much. A bit of scouts dancing around the height. Actually, Gundam takes a lot of damage from spam. I think there's still more focus coming from Great Friends. Here comes the bomb from Jello Jiggler. Sears gets a kill onto AC-130. Gundam does get caught by the bomb. Kills definitely favoring Great Friends here. 2x4 did go in for a last second bomb to try to kill Coin, but that's not going to be enough. Cormy caught in last, and that's a full wipe, clean sweep mid for Great Friends, and they're going to be already aggressing onto last, as you see. Their explosives, okay, they decide better because they're a bit low, but they're trying to spam down that gun early. Again, not let it go up in time. And AC-130 has decided to switch on to Sniper this time.
Yep. Actually going to go for an aggressive peek, which... Okay, I was holding my tongue about my opinion of it to see whether they hit the shot or not, which they did, so it worked out. I was expecting maybe a sniper in the spawn, try and kill the soldier peeking to spam the gun and then switch to heavy, something like that. But none of that matters. They actually trade out the soldier kill. Kateo dying yet again in this Uber. At this point, Gundam only 50% and getting landed on by Amity. Still alive for the time being, but the heavy goes down. Oh my goodness, Gundam will be resupplying. It's going to look like a hold, but a pretty marginal one. Like I said, Jello Jiggler will be bombing in. Missing that Rocket pretty much seals the deal. Didn't have enough loaded to be a threat at that point. Gonna be a hold for Chief Keef, but still, with it being that close and after wiping on 2 mids in a row, definitely feeling on the back foot.
We do have a sniper on the side of Sears who is actually taking some peeks in through lower as, they're outside drop onto Gunton. Very huge for them. Chief Keef is trying to all in, but they decide better of it, but they're still losing a few. Sears got a shot off onto 2x4. AC-130 is caught. Sears gets another headshot onto AT, and it's just Kateo left alive versus 6. He'll get Gunton as a spawner, but 2 versus 6 is almost inevitably going to be a lost round here. There's already some spam. They do end up using Uber, but they have plenty of time even before the spawners get here, and that's a second round there for Brave Friends.
Yeah, that's brutal. I mean, pushing out a Snakewater last is a notoriously difficult task for many reasons, but Sniper's honestly a little down on the list. Sears wasn't necessarily in a particularly hidden spot. It was just a matter of the players who were through and could have spotted Sears there, which there were, actually adequately communicating that to the team, making sure that Gundan isn't the first one to get shot and go down. But yeah, we are looking at yet another mid. Chief Keef definitely need to lock in here and avoid what's been going down so far. Things have been a little passive. Jello Jiggler will be playing in the kitchen, actually getting directly challenged by AT, who finds a trade. Demo for Soldier trade, not really what you're looking for as the demo. Meanwhile, Amity lands on Gundan, fires a handful of rockets, and the last one is a meaty direct, exactly what was needed. Now it's just going to be salvage mode for Chief Keef.
Kateo with a nice rocket, and even though there was a decent surf by Coin, he kind of got caught in the side, so AC-130 is going to clean that up. It's now 2 scouts alive versus Chocolate and Gimme, and 2x4 respawning since he died early. That's going to be, I believe, a 1 fight for Chief Keef. Not the cleanest one, especially because they lost their meta early and AT died for that trade. But it is a mid-win is a mid-win, and they are going to actually work their way with a 35% Uber ad because Gundan died so early, and I believe Coin also just died late. So that's going to help them. They're probably going to be setting up for this push. There's no off classes on either team right now, so I expect we're just going to see some, standard stuff. Gimme with a bit of spotting in lower, and he's just trying to get some information. AC-130 already bringing his team into lower without having Uber. They only have 80.
Yeah, that med kill on Coin was actually really important in many ways, because not only did they die at 95, but if you actually get Uber there, then rather than being dis out on your 2 that we're seeing here, though, that being said, Uber does actually get forced from Gundan. Coin only 70% though, the building hasn't been fantastic, so we might see a late refight.
Kateo!
Sears through bats. Jello Jiggler trying to collapse here as well. Ooh, it's not looking great actually for... Oh my goodness, the chase is extreme. AT getting that kill, it's remarkable. So weak. Gimme could have just cleaned them up, but they're going to be skedaddling here with the disad.
Yeah, Gundan's confidence to stay with AT there was crazy, but it ended up working out. Kateo cratered trying to save himself at the end, and 2x4 flubbed his bomb from lower into his own window, and he tried another bomb from a single rocket, and it did not work out. And they're now down about a 40% Uber. Kateo with some aggressive spotting here. He's going to safely get out and get that advanced info that his team, the combo is pushing saw. Looks like they're attempting to go catwalk. There's still, they are going to go catwalk. There's no traps there. Nobody's really set up. Actually, there is a flank shove coming, from Kateo and Cormy, but they decide better of it because Jello Jiggler's in a good position, and they're going to back out. The rest of Chief Keef is actually still in here, and here comes the aggressive Uber exchange.
Yeah, no, calling off that flank shove was fantastic because the building was so great from Gundan that an exchange just seems like a better plan. That being said, AT going down during this exchange. Is a trade with Jello Jiggler? Ooh, is Amity going to be the next to go down? Oh man, that crossbow actually looks kind of close.
Nice
going to be 3 kills in this post, so definitely opportunity to really chase here. Chocolate might be caught, now it's just Sears and Coin trying to run all the way to last. Cormy on the hunt. No beam though. Going to be chilling, going to be capping 2 here. And you are very happy with how things transpired there for Chief Keef. Turned into full disad with the force on the other team's second, but they just built well. The other team was slow, and they just played a fantastic exchange.
Yeah, and it turned out, even though that AT died early, the soldiers both got really good bombs. 2x4 hit a really nice shot to get a direct kill, so that just ended up working the kills in their favor. Kateo goes in and kills Coin. before he has Uber, but still very important. It's now 90% ad for the side of Chief Keef. They did sack 2, I believe, for that.
Yeah, Cormy just ran in through lower as well. That was crazy.
Yeah, but it's just going to be an ad, and there's already going to be a gun setup and a sniper. Sears is going to go sniper. Gimme on gun. I thought Gimme was going to be sniping, but it looks like Sears feels more comfortable with it. We'll see. The gun is actually going behind this little shed.
We're going to see a Pudis push as well.
Oh, you are right. No, I'm sorry. That's Cormy on Pudis.
Oh, Thomas Love though, so expect
not the
very little. I mean, even stock I feel like would be better, but nonetheless going to be a lower Uber. Gonna go down, and Jello Jiggler is caught. Cap time, a lot of cap time. 2 kills. Yeah, this is looking like just a 1 push before things could even really settle. Just so much cap time, multiple kills, great stuff.
Yeah, I was really scared that that wasn't going to go well for Chief Keef because Cormy rolled out so fast with the gloves of running urgently that he only had like 200 health by the time that Uber came in, so he wasn't going to have that 450 buff on heavy, which is what you often want. But those early kills just worked out so well for Chief Keef, and it's now a 2-1 score here. Still in favor of Great Friends, but a lot closer. So we're going into our 4th mid, and here comes an initial pressure from Jello Jiggler, and doesn't really get much. Sears doing a little bit of spouting, just scouting out on the high ground. Nobody really committing for everything. AC-130 doing even some pistol spam. Just nobody really wants to do anything for now, as Amity is in her own kitchen, though.
Yep, and we do see full aggression here from the red team, just full walking forward. Jello Jiggler does go down, but Gundon just kind of stuck. Too many players attacking from too many sides. Does die. Still, though, 3 combat down for Great Friends. It means that at the very least, Chief Keef are going to be able to cap mid. You do see some of these players, notably the soldiers, going forward. Seeing maybe can they make something happen. AT just setting up some traps in lower. This will be disad on mid, but definitely nowhere near as poor of a situation as we've seen some of their mids go. And notably as well, they have the time to get AC-130 on sniper in, I was going to say in position, but I'm not sure what position that was. Gimme dying to a trap as well.
Yeah, I think he's trying to go for an aggressive peek. He's very low. He might get caught. Kateo actually goes for a bomb, but Coin just goes so much further, goes into his own kitchen, and Kateo is stuck fumbling. He's going to get caught. AC-130 did work his way out, so it's not as bad of a situation here, but it is still about 35% Uber disad. 2x4 going to be spotting that saw. AT sets up some traps, and AC-130 is going to be spotting lower. Nothing really happening for now. Gimme is a spawner, but I think by the time that he gets here, there's going to be even Ubers. Yes, it is going to even out. Great Friends did not go fast enough. There's 4 players in Saw here from Great Friends. AT gets a trap kill into Amity. Jello Jiggler goes behind into Cheese here. And Gimme is
as well,
coming in through the flank. In through lower, they have no idea. But Gimmy's doing a bit of beefing, but Gundon still uses anyways. But it's 4 kills.
4. You're more than happy for 4 kills for an Uber, especially since some of those kills are so recent that we might see a pretty big deny here. Okay, we will not. The stacking was not super quick. So they do get their spawners, and I wouldn't be surprised if Great Friends started pushing now. But still, AC-130 was on Sniper this whole time. And again, just kind of holding the door closed on Sniper, which is bizarre. But dies for the Force. Really can't scoff at that. So going to be 50 ad now for Gundon. Excuse me.
Yeah, that ad is going to be just maintained, I would say. Actually, there's an aggressive push here from Great Friends with a bomb onto Amity. Gundon was not ready, does not hit a good serve. Amity grabs that kill. Jello Jiggler gets a kill onto Kateo as well, and he's still alive in the cheese of Chief Keef. AC-130 and 2x4 trying to do plays. Cormy is behind as well. 2x4 does get the kill onto Coin, and there's a recollapse here from the scouts of Chief Keef. They do end up going down, but that med kill onto Coin, is going to be very helpful for them, and they're probably going to secure themselves about a 20, maybe 30% Uber ed. Gimme was looking for a little something. He's going to end up backing up, and the players for both teams will be spawning right now. It's about a 25% Uber ed. We'll see what Chief Keef elects to do.
These spawners are very slow, so I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, Cormy is on Engineer. We are seeing the last hold. There's definitely on the margins there, whether you want to push out or not, because yes, they are down the medic and the demo for some time, AC-130, 2x4, and Kateo, I think, all have pretty much the same spawn wave. So you would have been cutting it close. You would have been facing down that refight from lower, as you were saying, against 4 combat players that were all alive and in position to hold the doors as well. And it's only 30 ad as well. Yeah, a lot of things made that kind of sketchy to push out. So I think Chief Keef making a very sound decision to just hold last here. And we do see the Banny gun, we do see AC-130 sniping here. So yeah, it's really all on Great Friends to try and break this hold.
Yeah, and one important thing to note, AC-130 did a bunch of off-classing checks, so Chief Keef knows there's no off-classes on Great Friends. Amity does get the kill onto the gun. That means there's an immediate sack from Gimme in on Gundon, beefing a lot of beef, and that's going to allow Gundon to live, even though there was no hit scans or soldiers. There was no scout or soldiers to protect.
Yeah, I think based on the kill feed, Jello Jiggler got probably body shot denied by AC-130.
Oh yeah.
Because yeah, a soldier getting cleanly ungunned in there is a guaranteed force, basically, with the damage that Gimme got just at the very end. So notably this time around, AC-130 has not switched off of Sniper, which means they have not off-class checked quite yet. It looks like going back to spawn to maybe do that right now. Yup. Indeed. Gonna be checking for enemy Sniper, gonna be checking enemy Spy. Probably going to redisguise a bit, although, as we know, there is no off-class. But given how free the gun was from drop-down last time, it's definitely a door Kateo's going to need to be a little more careful around and hold a little bit better.
Well, right now there's a lot of pressure from in the lower door here, but 2x4 is taking a lot of buffs and doing a lot of damage here in the lower. AC-130 went pretty aggressive trying to peek it with 2x4, but nothing happened there. But yeah, Great Friends was trying. Oh my goodness, coin drops! He gets caught up by himself.
Wow.
Nobody was watching lower. Oh no, and that's brutal. I wonder if they'll still push out, because even though they have full ad, pushing out a last can be scary with backcaps. But I have a feeling they will. AC-130 already swapped off a Sniper. AC-130 grabs a kill into Gimme. Kateo is about to clear out Jello Jiggler, hiding in the drop down. That's beautiful. 3 down. And they're going to push out here. Trap's dead as well. And that's a complete free second hold or push here from Chief Keef. And they're going to work their way in with that ad to mid shortly. It's only about 70% for now. But
okay, Gimme did get the forwards on mid. Jello Jiggler, however, did get denied. So we are going to see this push. Okay, this time around, yet another dry push against the Sniper from Chief Keef. We'll see if this gets spotted in time or if Gundon is unfortunately going to get body shot. Going to be looking like a catwalk dry push. They're already through the door, just working their space slowly. Gimme is about to have this angle, just holding the shot against the demo. Does get spotted and bombed. The door is being held. They were slow with it, but nonetheless got the midpoint. Things are going to even out, but you're happy, I think, if you're Chief Keef. You're in the driver's seat now.
Yeah, I think they were really worried about that behind shove, because they had both Kateo and Cormy in their own, going their own kitchen, and they just took their time after there was no shove, and Cormy just took his time working some space. Cormy actually sneaks his way into Africa. Kateo goes for a bomb, does die, and Cormy does not get anything as well. That's 2 down already from the side of Chief Keef. Jello Jiggler, pretty aggressive assault, already going to go in, trades damage with 2x4. He's very low here. He somehow gets a bow and gets out. Amity and, Gimme are both in. They get the force and no counter force. Amity is going to get cleaned up, but no other kills because Jello Jiggler got his way out and so did Gimme. That means a full ad push here from Great Friends, only being down 1 player.
Yeah, flank's just not being watched there. I mean, of course, with the double sack, you're expecting the flank to not really be watched, but that's something you should account for if you're sacking 2. 2x4 does try and go behind while Kateo still commits for the med.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Coin very weak, but will not be forcing. And AT actually dies for that spam, so down 3 without even a force to speak of. And all these players are going to get denied. And because of how fast Great Friends are, it's going to be an absolutely free second point. Gundon is at 80% already, so unless Great Friends were basically taking their Uber now, things are going to even out. But they look like they want to take it. They're going to get through these doors. Surely at this point they know that things have evened out. They're just going to treat this as really good pressure and probably sack some players.
Yeah, Cormy had a gun, but it was only level 1. It goes down to Chocolate. Bit of spam being traded out. Amity does decide she's going to commit with the bomb. Gundon gets forced at 100 HP. Chocolate gets 3
Oh, wow.
with stickies. That's absolutely absurd. Here comes the counter Uber in a second. Cormy with a 450 heavy is going to try to hold, but this is almost impossible.
Yeah, the trouble is Cormy is not a 450 heavy. They're a 450 Tomislav, which is a very different thing indeed. So yeah, I mean, that already Amity getting force is fantastic there. Already being through the door, having an entire side to yourself and having Uber is just a fantastic situation for great friends. But then Chocolate getting 3 kills, just nail in the coffin. So we are looking at a 3-1 lead, yeah. Definitely some dominance from great friends.
Amity goes
immediately. Yep. This has worked in the past. This time around, Gundon actually going to be playing on Catwalk and Amity. Just walking up. Does get a kill, actually, in AC-130. This should be... I don't know. The mid's not looking great for blue, just position and health-wise. Amity going to recommit for a trade. Ooh, the collapse is coming in. However, Gundon is a little bit caught out. Just going to be able to duck in to Saw. And Jello Jiggler dying for that commit. It's not looking too great. The positioning and the health and all the aggression from Great Friends did not actually convert into any kills. So, yeah, going to be, by the skin of their teeth, a mid-win here for Chief Keef.
Yeah, I do want to note a couple things. First of all, Gimme tried to rush down AT, and AT just absolutely demolished him with a 2-pipe, including 1 air pipe. And the other thing to note is that when Amity did go behind and she tried to flank Catwalk, the soldier on Cat was already there ready for it, so she got nothing out of it. Here comes the high bomb from 2x4. He's going to fade away into his own saw, and Kateo goes for his own high bomb. He's gonna get a decent rocket onto Coin, but Cormy is in with the force and actually drops Coin. He had no idea. And even though there's 2 down, that is gonna be huge. Jello Juggler very aggressive and actually gets the counter force onto Gundon. They're trying to go really aggressive with this, trying to get some kills. They do get Amity. There's 2 behind though, and 2x4 is very low. He's gonna get cleaned up by Jello Jiggler. This is very sketchy for Chief Keef.
Yeah, the collapse is coming in. There is a spawner on the way. Kateo's almost there. Jello Jiggler will clean up 2 players, the medic and the demo. When all the chips have settled here, we're going to see some cap time from Kateo. Probably not a full cap because at this point Coin has spawned. Crazy situation though. Coin trying to get that health pack, but Cormy hitting the 1 shot that he had before Coin got it. Enough for the drop. And honestly, a med drop for 2 kills and a force. That's a hard call to make. I'd say a lot of the time it's usually worth it for the team getting the drop. But if you take that next dry fight a little too quickly, especially when your flank is exposed, there's players behind, then yeah, we might see a collapse like we saw from Great Friends who earned themselves 30 ad with that play.
Yeah, they just walked out on through second. There wasn't a very strong hold setup from from Chief Keef. They had a soldier go for a sack. They actually, Great Friends now just uses their Uber very aggressively with the demo bomb from Chocolate, but nobody is caught, and that's going to mean a pretty much full Uber advantage here from Chief Keef. They're going right back in through Saw. Yeah. They are pretty prepared for it, and they are pretty spotted up, but they don't actually get that much damage, and Chief Keef just walked
caught on the flank.
Yeah, and Amity with a nice bomb. Gundon does not hit a great serve, gets force. It is 2 down on the side of, Great Friends. And since Great Friends never capped mid because Chief Keef went so fast, they're just going to walk their way in. Jello Jiggler and, oh my goodness, Jello Jiggler and Chocolate were very aggressive. Chocolate does get killed, does get a trade from Cormy, but that's not going to be crazy. Oh my goodness, AC-130 just walked in really aggressively. They're leaving Kateo to cap. Finally, AC-130 goes back. AT gets a kill with 2x4 onto Gimme. This is looking very dominant here from Chief Keef.
Yeah, the scout to cap is showing up just now. That's so much cap time coming in with 3 kills. Ooh, actually, Point doesn't get dead on, but oh man, the soldiers are juggled off just enough to get that cap. Just sheer aggression there from Chief Keef. And it makes sense as well, because as you were mentioning, mid never got capped, meaning you don't have to leave a player to cap. You can just walk forward. And I think even if Chocolate isn't caught there, even if Sears doesn't die on last, then Chief Keef still have a dry push into last with just those 2 kills alone. But the fact that they got so many extra kills on the way there, is just great, as we're actually looking at a pause here. Scary stuff. I suspect maybe we're about to see some mid to last shenanigans, maybe a momentum shift, maybe a momentum loss. Yeah, hard to say.
I'm not sure. I did hear that AC-130 was having internet issues before because his internet was out earlier today, so maybe
that could be it.
Happened again.
Because AC-130 has been playing with like 140 ping, and I'm noticing now actually Gimme also with 140.
Both South American players there.
Okay. Okay, so I'm being told by the producer that there is a potential ringer lined up if AC-130 is out, which we're not sure of quite yet. Yeah, this is turning into a game. Oh, actually, immediate unpause, so probably not mid to last, honestly. I would say tech stuff. As AT gonna be bombing in. We see basically the 4-man on mid. And, yeah, a proper 4-man, because Gundam and AC-130 just got out. Now, my kill feed is completely ruined by the pause, but I know beyond a reasonable doubt that medic did die on mid. So, gonna be plenty of ad here for Gundam, and they are taking this fight in.
Yeah, with Cormy behind, they're already going very aggressive. Kateo trades with a kill. Amity getting a bit of spam. AC-130 gets a kill onto Sears, and they're gonna retake mid and have a full Uber ad. And I was informed, I believe it was AC-130 just had a little bit of a disconnect, maybe an internet issue. I'm sure that we'll see that here shortly.
I hope that doesn't like mess with things too much, because if he lags out while capping 2, for example, while the other team's pushing last, or while their team's pushing last, then that could be bad. However, with 2x4 going down, and considering coin already at 80%, I don't think it's going to impact any last push shenanigans.
Yeah, Great Friends is already set up on their own last here. Sears does get a kill onto Kateo. Gimme's setting up a gun, though, and I'm sure this is where the pause here shortly. Yeah, they're already... AT is frozen? I'm not sure what happened here. Yeah, okay, Sears is still peeking out. I think AT might have lagged out or something. Yeah, it might have been AT that actually lagged out, but here's the fight here. 2x4 went for a bomb onto Chocolate on bats, but Jello Jiggler gets some nice shots and is able to hold it off. Sears with a very oppressive sniper sight line. No soldiers here for Chief Keef, so they're not really able to do much about it. Cormy's deciding he's going to go in through Africa.
Man.
Sears gets a headshot onto AC-130. Gundam is going to get forced, and now it's just AT and Cormy who's going to work his way in through Africa, but he's actually just going to decide to back out, as are the rest of the combo from Chief Keef. And it's going to be a recapture from Great Friends, and they have a full Uber ad, but they do have a sniper.
Sears did so much for that push out, because keep in mind as well that Gimme was on Engineer, so Great Friends just didn't have a scout at all, and they were trying to take that dry push without a scout against a team that's already through, like by Shed with Uber. So you're just really begging for an exchange to be ripped in your face, but no, with multiple nice headshots, gonna turn into a fantastic situation. Being said, Sears still on sniper here, which at this point did slow down Great Friends enough to where Ubers are going to even out on 2. If they were faster, then you might see them have ad into this point. But a sniper into this point,
yeah, sniper v sniper. AC-130 went onto sniper, was scoped up, and was ready for Sears to take that peek. He's going to now get more aggressive in lower. There's also 2 soldiers coming in through the saw area here. 2x4 trying to peek into kitchen, not really committing for anything. AC-130 just taking some shots. Kateo goes for a little bit of aggression, but no shots are going to go in the way of... Oh my goodness, actually Cormy goes very aggressive, gets caught, and Jello Jiggler gets another kill
through
onto...
window. And the force. Oh man. And this is now horrible for Chief Keef. Going to be backing up here. 2x4 is in window, does not commit, going to be just living for last. So without even sending a player, going to be a very fast dry push from Great Friends. Jello Jiggler is spawned now, going to be rolling out. Let's just see if Great Friends take the Uber before he shows up, or wait for the buffs. I'm assuming probably the latter. Well, they will be waiting a bit. Gundam's been on top of the building, however. 70% already, meaning with a good kite, then you will be getting Uber. Kateo instantly caught, though. It's not what you want to see. Sears about to pressure some cap.
And 2x4 with a
wow.
nice behind bomb is going to grab 2. Amity does clean him up, but there's the counter Uber from Gundon. And Coin did get caught out by the bomb from 2x4. Very, very well played. And interestingly, because they waited... Oh, Gimme is 3 HP still alive here. AC-130 beefing, and he actually loses the fight. Cormy can't hit him either. AT finally gets the kill. But... yeah, they actually took so long that Cormy was able to get a level 2 gun up, which pretty much denied the bomb. Chocolate got the skybox, as we're actually going to see a refight from Great Friends. Amity goes in on the Bats, actually destroys Cormy here. Jello Jiggler behind in lobby. Gundon is in a very tough spot here. She's going to get juggled and probably going to get killed. She's somehow still alive at 11 HP. Gets out through lower at 8 HP. Very, very close situation there, and it's going to work her way out through last. And it's still even Ubers, but because those players were very low and they're not holding, Great Friends is going in fast.
Yeah, and with those kills, it would give me immediately pressuring AT. So much cap time. Cormy does make it to point, but getting bombed, traded out with, yeah, this is going to be a round. Man, Snakewater is probably the map in which wiping on your own 2 and losing a round is the most common out of any of the second points in this game. And I really thought we were going to see that. Somehow, both Gundon and AT were able to get out there, or get out of there without dying, but it still didn't even matter. There were just too many kills from that botched push out.
And then one thing also that happened was AT thought that Cormy on heavy wouldn't get to point in time, so he, as Demo, went on to point first, died quickly, and that's why there was just no traps at all. Demo's really important on your own last. Kateo going for an early bomb. Cormy takes some damage, though, and so does Kateo. They eat the same pipe. They're very low. I wonder if Great Friend is going to do something off that. Amity is hiding on the side. Here comes the high bomb from Amity and Jello Jiggler. Very passive Gundon here, and Gundon gets the kill into the bombing Amity. Jello Jiggler got a kill into Kateo. 2x4 grabbed Jello Jiggler. Sears got a kill into Cormy. It's now 4-on-4. The Great Friends, yeah, now it's about to be even.
Oh my god.
2x4 gets destroyed by a chocolate on
Yeah, that should just be a leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, the height control was going to be really important there, but man, Chocolate was on top of that, just raining stickies up at 2x4, confirming that kill. Now, only down a soldier. Means that we will see a hold here with Uber from Chief Keef. Gimme, however, is through the door, alone for the time being, but not taking any damage. Bomb in from Amity. Gets decent damage on the Demo. We might see something. Nope, Jello Jiggler was in cheese at the time, but a little too weak to follow up on the bomb. So that is going to be the single sack. Some value, but nothing crazy.
Gimme, I think, was a bit distracted. I don't know what was going on there, but he's going to go down. That's 2 down for the side of Great Friends. So Chief Keef is going to be pushing this. There's not much pressure here on the Saw side, though. Finally, they do pressure him out. Jello Jiggler gets a kill into Cormy. That's big for them. And I think, yeah, Chief Keef actually just backs it up off that kill. On the bomb, though, Amity kind of lost track of AT, and AT was definitely one rocketable, but I think she just completely lost track of him. Everyone, all the explosives on the side of Chief Keef over here to spam, and Jello Jiggler is going to go down, and the rest of Great Friends is going to have to back up. We'll probably see some sort of attempted counter-sack. It looks like AC-130 is already peeking.
Yeah, this time around they don't have that extra pick to work with. Counter-sacking on Snake 2 can be kind of difficult. Man, Kateo actually put in some work on that. Coin was quite low, like 40 HP. None of these doors are just very... what's the word I'm looking for? Desirable to get through, both for the sack and the pressure. Sometimes going on that fast counter sack can be the way to go. Sometimes you see teams go behind through Saw. Speaking of going behind, actually, Jello Jiggler does sneak in the lobby.
Lower as well.
Ooh, AT dying. Okay, Jello Jiggler dies behind, but gets traded out with 2x4, and space is being taken. Chief Keef actually just full leave. They don't want to risk an exchange. They just want to try and hold last. But for the time being, while down a Demo and a soldier, do have Great Friends taking a lot of space.
Yeah, Kateo eats a big pipe and a lot of damage too. Gundon actually gets forced from the bomb from Amity, and there's a ton of cap time. Here comes the counter Uber from the side of Great Friends. They do get 2x4, and AC-130 is kind of caught as well, but he's actually able to get a lot of damage on Chocolate and somehow leave. Cormy cleans up that kill. Here comes a high bomb from Jello Jiggler, not going to get much. Cormy sitting with Putis on point, and it's just the soldier spawner and Coin. Coin's going to go down, and That's a full wipe on the side of Great Friends, and Chief Keef is working their way right back out into second. I wonder if Amity's going to go for something, but it looks like she's just going to do some spotting and passive spamming, and it's going to be probably a mid push, but oh my goodness, Coin actually got delayed by the spawn wave, so
that's a big deal.
yeah, that's going to allow Chief Keef to push in mid.
Yeah, that was a razor-thin last hold as well. Things were not looking great for some time. Not only using so much earlier, but yeah. Space has been taken pretty successfully here. No cap pressure, and actually just a full refight from the red team. The doors just weren't being held, and just a complete lack of confidence from Chief Keef as well. Cormy goes down, Jello Jiggler in from lower, AT might be caught here, Gundam getting forced, players are dropping left and right, Uber gets popped. Chocolate might be dying. No, what a bow. Does go down. AC-130, or AC-130 going down, and just a completely catastrophic attempted push here from Chief Keef.
And Gimme is already in on the flank doing a lot of pressure. He's going to pick up that kill onto Kateo. Gundam at 12 HP. She is going to work her way out, but there's a big Uber out here on the side of Great Friends. Chocolate already pressuring. 2x4 manages to get his way out, or get out of there alive, but big push in here on this right side, or on this side from Great Friends, and the aggressive Uber comes in. Jello Jiggler did get piped early, so maybe we'll see some stuff happen. But Cormy on heavy goes down to Chocolate. Gundam is caught out here. 2x4 is dying. And just it's very tough here for Chief Keef. Only AT left alive, and that's a 5-2 map win for the side of Great Friends.
Yeah, definitely cleaned up the act there towards the end. Kind of stopped that momentum that Chief Keef were building up. Yeah, I don't know. They just kind of seemed like the better team there on Snakewater. I think one area in which that was very noticeable was actually on all those situations in which Great Friends have picks of some variety and converting that into like a force, which I know is kind of vague, but I mean, how many times do we see that they got kills on last, were able to pressure really deep into last and just get that force? It seemed like every single time that it was even Ubers and Great Friends had kills with which to take space, Amity was just able to find Gundam and get that force, and it went really well for them. So yeah, moments like those definitely added up. Of course, there were many other cases of things. They did get kind of two, maybe it was only the one round they got for free with the mid to last, but still, overall, I think definitely Great Friends played that quite well.
Yeah, I've been looking at the logs here. Amity absolutely went nuclear, had 2.5k damage, positive 23 and 18 on Soldier. Very well done from her. She was just getting in for free and not getting denied, getting so many forces and so much damage so often.
Mm-hmm.
Chocolate and Sears also had some really good damage stats. The damage overall just went in the favor of Great Friends, but I think that was really from the combination of Chocolate, Amity, and Sears. And if I remember correctly, let me look at this one quickly. Yeah, Amity's actually on Roamer, so she's doing a lot of that, and she did have more heals than Jello Jiggler, though. But, still a lot. That's a big impact from your Roamer to put out. And we're going to go on to the second map here of Metalworks shortly.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think that Chief Keef they put up enough of a fight there that you don't think they're just going to roll over on their own map pick. But there are some differences with this map that might call into question kind of the outcome, because for starters, Metalworks is a very soldier impactful map. I don't want to say kind of a soldier dominated map in the same way that Gully Wash, for example, is kind of a soldier playground, but you can have a lot of impact on soldier, and teams that have very impactful soldiers on this map tend to do better. And considering that Amity was doing quite well, and I don't want to throw any players under the bus, but the blue, as far as I'm aware, Roamer, Kateo on Roamer for blue, definitely comparatively less impact, just a lot of last holds and random situations in which they were caught and things like that. Might That's the word I'm looking for. Might have some implications, I suppose, for how Metalworks could transpire.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how that plays out because Amity definitely had a really good Snakewater. Uh, and if we compare the pocket soldiers, I'm gonna take a look. I think it was a lot more even. Yeah, 2x4 actually had a much better map on Snakewater. Well, maybe not much better, but definitely a better map than Jello Jiggler. So it might be maybe you might slightly favor the soldiers in on the side of Great Friends. But considering this is Chief Keef's map pick, I wouldn't be surprised if they feel very confident. And Combo Scout is still strong on any map, so I wouldn't be surprised if we still see uh, some potential, I don't know, potential outlandish pushes. Maybe I don't know. We didn't see like too much crazy. That being said, that I thought we were gonna see on map one, so I don't know. Maybe we won't see anything crazy, but I have a feeling we'll see some last stalemates here since it is Metalworks. But besides that, I'm curious to see what if there's any like crazy strats or off classes that these teams pull out for map two, especially because Chief Keef is down a map now. Even though it wasn't their map pick, they got to make sure they win this map if they want to get it to map three.
Yeah, and unless you can win on the other team's map pick, then you just lose if you're the lower seeded team. So they definitely want to be able to convert maps that they don't necessarily pick. And, given the fact that you're afforded some bans, then, good teams should be able to play on maps they're comfortable on, basically guaranteed. With that being said, oh man, I had something and then I forgot what I was going to talk about. It was on the topic of like craziness on metal. Oh yeah, if I were to kind of describe metal in a nutshell and what it can boil down to, in a similar way how Snakewater can be pretty polarizing based on its last and the stalemate there, as well as second being very, or last being very difficult to push out of, rather. Metalworks is a map that I have seen so many teams have so many opportunities into last and fail and potentially lose the game because they cannot actually convert their ads into last. It is a deceptively difficult last point to push with ad, because a lot of things can go wrong. There isn't just a very intuitive place to stand in a post, like many other maps have. You can run into gun pyro is just really, really potent on this last. And I mean, pyro in general can be difficult to deal with. There's just a lot of things that can go wrong with a last push, and I think that having opportunities to push the other team's last with ad, you really, really want to be able to convert on metal and be good at that. Otherwise, you might struggle on this map.
Yeah, I very much agree. So especially, I mean, like you were saying, this is, I mean, it's pretty important because that can be just an easy way to not have to break through a last hold in the first place. And interestingly, there's a lot of interesting like different bombs, and with the high bomb that you can do from alley on second here, that can cause a lot of different scenarios with like faking, fading away, potentially getting pinched in alley if you get a little too cheeky, where the enemy team can like cut off your exit through underpaths. There's a lot of interesting counterplay that go on there on second. So that's oftentimes where I personally like seeing Metalworks go down a lot of times when you're in stalemates, at least, because there's a lot of interesting counterplay there.
Yeah, and the mid as well is one of my more favorite mids to play, which it's a very, very feast or famine mid, especially for demos. It's probably the most common mid to just show up and die before anything actually happens, because it's very easy for the other demo to just be a little bit faster and lock you out, or just hit two good stickies on you and you just drop before your heals can show up. But if you're able to kind of survive the opening stages, kind of figure out where you're getting spammed from, and importantly as well, kind of find those sometimes obscured spam lanes, then you can do a lot on metal, and it can be a lot of fun on that mid. And of course, soldier high bombs, there's behind plays even. Yeah, plenty of opportunities on metal mid, and it doesn't really play like many other mids.
Yeah, I also do want to mention something that we didn't mention before. Jello Jiggler is a sub
Hmm.
on the team. Their normal soldier is Tifio, I believe, if I have that correct. So, maybe just Jello Jiggler not being as comfortable with the way the team works, that might influence some stuff, especially on Metalworks. Considering I think he had the worst map of the four soldiers, but it's not like he was playing particularly awful, and it wasn't like playing that bad, but it's also tough to already fill in as a ringer as well. I mean, not a ringer, excuse me, a sub, but like, when you have a normal soldier, that can be potentially something you're not used to. And that can cause a bit of confusion, with expected plays that you've already talked about throughout the season. Playing with a team, the same 6 players for the entire season, be very it can give you a lot of like good insight, and you can just honestly sometimes you can start doing things without having to communicate them at all, which can just speed up
Hmm.
things and make everything more faster and cohesive. And that's why oftentimes more practice you get together as a team is really important. And having a sub and ringer, even if it's someone to fill in, obviously, just in case, but you know it can potentially cause a difference. It doesn't always. Sometimes the player naturally meshes well with the team, but sometimes it can cause some issues. It didn't seem to cause that much of an issue on Snake, but I wonder if that'll change because of Metalworks and Solder being so important on Metalworks.
Yeah, and we are actually live here now. Um, yeah, considering that, actually, I think like the one thing that, well, one thing that I noticed that Great Friends were struggling with a bit is dry pushing or pushing to last fast enough, and especially in the case of dry pushes, that is a case of your pocket soldier being there in time. But nonetheless, we are looking at another mid choke rollout from AT versus a main rollout from Chocolate. A bit of choke stuffage. 2x4 actually pretty weak early into this mid, and the blue team just staying by choke, which, oh man, actually baits out a kill into Amity. AT kind of the only one in at the moment. Cormy going to be backing up with this kill. Man, everyone on Chief Keef are so weak. They do have 2 kills now, which should definitely be enough to get through. I do like the patience as I say that, though. AC-130 getting a little antsy there. Gonna be taking a low health fight with Gimme and trading out. But nonetheless, still gonna be a midpoint win here for Chief Keef. Down a scout with a scout capping. They are gonna chill for a little bit, but we'll see some of that second point pressure that you were talking about in the pregame.
Yeah, that was really interesting because I feel like Great Friends were just so miscoordinated on that mid. They had them all like locked in their own house with 3 low players, and somehow they had separated players. I'm not sure how that happened. It's like the rest of Great Friends, like the demo and the scouts and the med, didn't walk forward enough to like support their soldiers getting aggressive. But I don't know. We'll see here as we get that expected pressure. The combo from Chief Keef is pressuring from Valley with those heals. Cormy in that underpass and 2x4 playing nice and passive in the house. Tail went for a bomb, does end up fading out. He does live. A counter attempt bomb? No, it's just a fade away from Jello Jiggler. Not really any commit there. As we see the heals back up a bit, they're still talking about what they want to do. Soldiers aren't very buffed here, so I'm assuming there's going to be something else happening. Maybe some sort of dry fight attempt. But AC-130 and AT just looking for some sort of, some damage, something. Here comes the bomb from Kateo. He's going to go in, gets a decent shot onto Coin, and he's healthy for a long time. Kateo actually gets the trade kill onto Amity. That's huge.
Okay.
Cormy is taking a fight with Gimme, though, but the rest of his team comes in to save him at the last second. And now 4 players on the ground for the side of Great Friends, but 2x4 was so low, he got pushed in his own house that he can't really punish that.
Yeah, we do have Jello Jiggler actually took that opportunity to get behind through house, just with some good damage on 2x4, forcing the backup, but does just get out without sacking actually. And at this point, Kateo is here on mid. That being said, I'm a little surprised there wasn't house pressure during that sack, considering that we did see Coin surf towards house. That could have been quite bad if the soldier was there to get some spam off. Could have turned into a drop. Nonetheless, 2x4 actually trying a speed shot through, it seemed like, is going to be the sack.
Yeah, Gimme and Jello Jiggler are already in. Here comes a high bomb from Jello Jiggler, catching Gundon against the wall, against the force. Gimme gets the kill on Cormy and is still behind. This is very difficult for Chief Keef. Now, they may even they may want to actually just
Oh,
back
the
up and
scout
deal
behind
with
is so
Gimme
horrible,
behind. Yeah,
too.
they finally do decide
Ooh.
to turn back. AC-130 gets
Yeah.
the 2-shot. That's could have been a lot worse there for Great Friend, or for Chief Keef, excuse me, but they are just
Agreed,
going to
yeah.
back up. They actually are going to try to refight while there's not enough space, and
Interesting.
Kateo gets very aggressive, does not get a force onto Coin. Coin's very healthy, and Great Friends is going to start pushing in onto second here with their 50% Uber head.
Yeah, I don't know about that sack, because the other team, like, they have the point, they're holding the doors, so you're not really expecting to get too much, and especially considering that a high bomb alley is just by default a better plan than that, and a very easy thing to fall back on. May as well sack into 2. But that being said, yet again, Gundam, a combination of Gundam being good at building and Great Friends being a bit slow in these dry push scenarios. Ubers have evened out, and Kateo with a nice bomb on a chocolate does trade out the demo for his soldier partner. And yeah, with the demo kill, we're going to see some pressure in a mid, actually, from Chief Keef.
Yeah, here comes a bomb from Kateo, trying to take some space, is going to get Gel Jiggler very low, but he jumps out at the last second. He is going to get his way out of there, get some packs, and because of the players here, I think Chief Keef is, they are still, yeah, they never really committed to anything, so they're just going to back out.
AT isn't caught,
AT
right?
might be, no, it looks like he's
man.
not. I think he had some good stickies there to help deny some height, and he's going to get his way out. He is kind of low, but he'll get bowed by his medic shortly, and it'll be just an even hold here. This time on Chief Keef's second, and Great Friends is going to have to try to break through. They're already getting very healthy. They're doing a lot of discussing here, I'm noticing. I wonder what they're deciding.
Yeah, did I see Gimme with a fish as well? I need to, like, check that now. Yeah, he's got the holy mackerel. Very tasteful. Yeah, classic alley pressure. Pretty standard for... Oh, and Amity. Oh my god, just landing on top of Gundam's head. Making it so she can't get a surf off, and that's just a free force. Kateo as well with the immediate counter sack does get the force, which is a really nice timing there, and also a pretty necessary play to avoid the disad at last, so very nice neutralizing play there from Kateo.
Yeah, he even got the kill onto Gimme, which was so important because somehow Amity lived that. I think AC-130 and Gundam were just so not expecting it at that time. Maybe they were talking or something, like, but they were just not ready for that bomb at all. Normally, that should not happen. Your med should be able to kite back into Shutter or get some sort of surf or something. But I'm very surprised that worked. Yeah, but oh yeah, something important to note. Gimme on the 140 ping has decided to go spy.
Let's see, with the ambassador as well. I'm curious about the cloak. Whether it's going to be... Okay, based on the crab walking, I'm assuming this is cloak and dagger. Which has its uses. Now, I gotta say, I hate how Great Friends are doing absolutely nothing, because I imagine people are going to start looking for a spy immediately. Cormy immediately switches to spy of his own, starts off-class checking, and Gundam is now spinning around, very paranoid-like. I assume that they are well aware the timing is gone, and for those of you cloak and dagger enthusiasts,
yeah. Cormy immediately catches him.
Oh, but you just get more timings, right? Because you get to decloak whenever you want. We just saw a spy timing vanish because the cloak and dagger was just too slow to make the play happen. Now, granted as well, Great Friends were just doing nothing to pressure or distract the blue team or make them think anything other than, maybe they have a spy.
Yeah, if nothing happens after a while, generally the accepted thought process is you should assume that they have a sniper or spy, and what do you know, they had a spy. The other thing is he was also an ambassador, 007 style, but the problem with that is, like, you don't have the extra cloak from the other spy primary, so it can also mean the cloak and dagger is also even less impactful. Yeah. Oh, AC-130 setting up the teleporter exit by the door.
And Gimme is sniping in the last tier.
Nice
and
direct.
Cormy is counter-sniping. Sniper into this last. Shutter is basically a free peek. It's really, as someone who plays demo, holding this last as a demo, and holding Shutter specifically, which is your door, it's basically impossible to stop people from peeking. it's just so generous the distance you can peek it. Like, you can peek the shutter without being in danger of the stickies, basically. So it can be really rough. But even giving a sniper that peek is really not that bad, because just based on what you see with this hold, the gun protects everything, basically. The medic is safe from every peek. Everything's being held. So yeah, we're not seeing a whole lot happen. And at this point, with a minute left, the sniper is more of a liability for whatever incoming exchange or four-man or insert whatever drastic option you want to go for is. Oh, Kateo. Oh my god.
Barely lives at 10 HP, is going to get his way out. Yeah, that's one of the vulnerabilities of the situation when you have snipers. You can get really pressured as the roamer holding on that shed, even with the positioning there. Sears does kill the gun with assistance from, I believe that was Amity. Gimmy's still trying to peek his sniper. No traps there. Cormy is on Pyro as well. Amity jumps right back through. Kateo is just going to decide he's going to jump out. Amity pretty low, so I think she's not going to be able to get that much influence. But Gimme tried to peek with the sniper.
15 seconds, though. This is just a reset.
Yeah.
Like, even if Gundam dropped right now, it's still a reset. The exchange gets popped. This is a fantastic... Like, I love how Cormy switched off of Sniper and onto Pyro when there's like 50 seconds left, because you're expecting either a four-man or an exchange. And Pyro is pretty good at dealing with both of those, at least a lot better than a Sniper is. So definitely heads up play there. But I was really surprised to see Great Friends just let the clock tick out and then only be like, oh shoot, we have to take an exchange right now when there's like 15 seconds left. Yeah, that was not very inspired last stalemating from Great Friends. They got to do better next time.
Chocolate pretty aggressive early, and he's able to get away with it. Cormy not really able to pressure very much. A lot of... Gundam goes down to 30 HP. She's going to go for the pack via backdoor, but the health on Chief Keef is so low. So much space for Great Friends. This might be impossible. Yeah, they are just going to give it up already. Just so much damage getting caught too aggressively, and this time it looked like Great Friends were much more ready for the mid-style that Chief Keef had set up, and they're going to be able to lock that down and win it without even getting a single kill. And it's now back to an even Uber situation here. The health is still not great on the side of Chief Keef. They still have some players low, not even fully healthy. Chocolate now in alley with the rest of the combo. Amity with the 300 buff. I'm assuming she's going to go for some sort of bomb here shortly. Here comes that high bomb. This time Gundam is actually ready, but AC-130 is not ready for it.
It's tough because your med can kite into Shutter. They can try and hit a surf outside of Shutter. They can kite in like right lobby, for example, but with that shutter kite specifically, sometimes you're actually just isolating yourself from the soldier with that kite, because we were able to see, I mean, to be honest, Amity was hitting nice rockets and she probably would have gotten that force anyway, but definitely lived more than long enough to get the force just with that kind of isolated shutter kite. So this can be a tough point to kite a bomb as a med.
Yeah, and actually, 2x4 going very low, and he's going to have to back up. But
building as well, man. Like,
yeah, it's
they've
very
been
good
so
building.
good at it.
And Cormy actually ran away to last after the force happened to set up a gun early, so he's already got a level 2 in the little hidden spot under the point in case some sort of crazy push happened. But it wasn't even necessary because Gundam already has ad. Here comes the aggressive Uber from left side, but I don't think they realized Gundam did some insanely good building. Here's that counter Uber. Kateo did go down to the gun. And Chocolate might be caught in. AC-130 is separated as well. Gets
kind of overheating.
Gets caught in Jello. Jimmo came from behind on the other side. Gets the kill onto Gundam. Great Friends is pushing into last now.
Yeah, that Uber was not nearly good enough for that chase, on top of the fact that the combo just completely split up. AT was focusing on the left side, trying to catch Coin, which turned into trying to catch Chocolate. Meanwhile, AC-130 was just running it through Shutter and almost dying, actually, assuming that Gundam was following him. That was just... Gotta pump the brakes there if you're Chief Keef.
Yeah, definitely a bit of an overcommit. I'm sure they already know what happened, hopefully for their sake. AT deciding this time to go main, don't want to get locked out by any crazy early spam from Chocolate. Gimme and the scouts on both teams going very aggressive early. Cormy grabs a quick kill onto Gimme.
Ooh, double
the double high bomb from the soldiers, but neither of them on the height. They do pick up Chocolate, but they're gonna go down. There was a counter aggression
Coin's
or a bit of
pretty
spam
low.
onto Gundam as well. Coin and Gundam both got really low, but it just
Yeah.
yeah.
2x4 just wasn't healthy enough to really be chasing through house there, which would have been really nice. But alas, doesn't always happen. And I think you're just happy to be winning a mid kind of on your own merits this time around. The first mid, it kind of seemed like Chief Keef only won it because Great Friends kind of messed up, and then the second mid they lost pretty poorly. This time around, honest mid win. That being said, this second pressure, yeah, not going too great.
Behind.
Ooh, that is nice actually, and gets a kill. This is huge. And now Sears has to be, as the only scout, worried about either the bomb from behind, yeah, and just like that, 2x4 getting the force. This great situation set up by this Cormy flank. And at this point, you're probably gonna die because you can't kite any further back than last. And with the spawner on the way, does die. AC-130 as well, dying. Trades out with Amity, who's sacked. At least, you know, no force for blue, but down 2 scouts, things are a little hairy.
Yeah, but nice pipe from AT onto Coin. I think that's going to delay a bit, but he didn't get the trap onto Jello Jiggler, who bombed through, but AT and Kateo end up cleaning up the 2 kills anyways. And now they have an ad, and they do have 2 players spawning, but down 2 players. They might elect to go now. There's no gun or anything like that. There's no scout either. There's just Sears, 1 sniper. The spawners are still up in 5. They have to go quick if they want to abuse the fact that these players are dead. And I think they're going to decide not to.
They were a little slow, and are they... They're just like 4-manning. Interesting. A lot of cap time as well. Medic dies. That is a great situation. I'm surprised he just called it even, though. I think Gundam assumed better building than there actually was in reality. A lot of value from that 4-man, though, all the cap pressure and things like that. Surprisingly, the point wasn't trapped, considering it was disad. In any case, yeah, with not just a force, but a med kill, means that it is more than enough ad to dry push 2 here and take that ad into last. And with no resistance on 2, basically, we might see that happen pretty quickly.
Yeah, there's already that gun going up. Kimmy just upgrading it at spawn to get it to level 2. There's that level 2, but he does have to put it in place and not get caught in this Uber. And here comes the aggressive Uber in through main. The gun is not up. Gimmy's still on NG. Coin actually goes down, not Gimme, excuse me. A bunch of collapsing happening on the point. Tons of kills happening. But the frags favor the side of Chief Keef, and it is now 1-1. Even on this Chief Keef second map, and we'll see what happens on this third mid. That was really fast last, my goodness.
Yeah. I mean, goes to show that you can just make it happen. When everything just goes right multiple times in a row, you just win rounds quickly. That wasn't quite a mid to last. Things did slow down on 2, then they got the force on 2, and then slowed down on last, and then they got a kill on last, stuff like that. But anyway, we're looking at a new mid. AT going to be a little slow on this rotation through main from Choke. Double bomb coming in from the red soldiers and immediately nuking Gundam. But on the other side of the map, counter aggression from blue nukes everyone else. So it's going to be a very confident mid win here from Chief Keef. Jello Jiggler is spotted behind, however, so I don't expect Gundam to be absent-mindedly walking out of the spawn and dying. Yeah, even Uber's player behind.
Yeah, AC-130 is escorting her, so I think she's going to be safe. They know for it. AT does get a trap kill onto Chocolate. That is huge all the way on the second. And they know about Jello Jiggler behind. They know there's 2 down as well, and oh my goodness, do I see that right? Coin is on stock, but Gundam is on crit, 65%. There's no gun either for now. Jello Jiggler very low behind. Cormy does end up getting that kill. Here comes the aggressive push. Bomb from Amity.
Weak.
Yeah, just backs up. There's not really much happening. Here comes the crits, essentially. Here comes AT, gets the quick kill to Chocolate, gets another sticky, but Gundam does go down. Cormy and the rest of the team collapsing.
Oh, man, they got Uber. Not only did they get Uber in time, but they were able to get to point in time. There was potential for a body block there to just win the round. The cleanup is good enough, actually. I was not expecting the crits into Metalworks last to be working well at all. But it seemed like Coin was expecting it to be slight disad, and the red team was actually playing pretty passively, meaning the door was a lot easier to peek than it would otherwise have been. But nonetheless, Gundam going down means that she gets to spawn back on Uber, and it's going to be some slight disad to deal with, and so notably, a couple off classes coming out.
And AT watching an aggressive trap in this house, getting some early spot. But yeah, like you mentioned, 2x4 spy, AC-130 sniper.
The double whammy. And this is, okay, AC-130 getting spotted. We might just see a house pop off of that sniper spot alone, because why? Who wants to dry push? Yeah, and that's exactly what happens, actually. Ooh, and multiple players are caught, in fact. I don't like this at all. And 2x4 died as well on spy. That is remarkable. I mean, being down your entire flank because they're off-classing, you can pull that off, but you need someone spotting house. Otherwise, something like this is going to happen. Everyone's going to be caught.
Yeah, especially with that sniper. AC-130 keeps going aggressive for those peaks, and sure, like occasionally it could work, but the other team is just constantly ready for it, and they never lose anything to AC-130 practically. Like, he got a headshot on Jello Jiggler, but nothing else really happened. They have a gun? Okay, no, they don't.
Yeah, they switch off. But at this point, Coin 80%. It might be worth playing evens now because of how slow Chief Keef were here. No, I'm actually a little surprised. Amity bombing in. Decent damage. Gimme gets through the door, but eats a lot of damage for it, so... Okay. Yeah, great friends. Kind of just giving up 2 there, sacking the soldier, and it's going to even out and be counter-sack now.
Yeah, there's a bit of early pressure and space trying to be taken from Jello Jiggler, but he is going to be forced back. Here comes an aggressive bomb from Kateo. He actually gets the force onto Coin. That's going to be really good for the side of Chief Keef, excuse me, because they're going to have a nice big Uber. They only lost 1 for that, so they're probably going to push in shortly. Actually, AT just gets a trap kill into Gimme, so that's going to prompt the immediate push here. Jello Jiggler pretty aggressive, got an early spot. Actually, a fade, 2 soldiers in his left house.
AT is gonna... Oh my god, AT not only not dying, but both soldiers die without getting a kill. That is shocking. And both these soldiers are gonna get denied as well. And Coin as well hasn't been building particularly well. Only at 60% right now. That could be like 80 or 90% if the building was better. I expect... Ooh, and they're playing the Uber. Scary trap. Okay, I said they were playing the Uber, but they didn't pop through. I guess dry push house because both soldiers got denied. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, AT very aggressive here. He might get caught. There's an aggressive Uber from Great Friends, but Gunna does save her demo at the last second. The Ubers are about even, I would say. Actually, no. The Ubers faded a little bit later on the side of Chief Keef. Trading scouts here for both teams. Kateo very low though. He got the first boat got missed, so it was a little bit sus there, but he's able to get his way out. It's 5v5. They take control second on the side of Chief Keef, and they're going to be looking to try to pressure into last. And Cormy this time for the side of Chief Keef is up on sniper.
Yup. So immediately trying to bust out that class 7, is it? Maybe class 8? I don't know. Class 8. Yeah, trying to make something happen on last. That being said, the hold is not great. Because Gimme is not an engineer. Played heavy assuming that there'd be some fast pressure into last, but there's not. There's a sniper. So, kind of paradoxically, the fact that there isn't a gun means just ripping a double sack would be really good here, especially since Coin is playing as if there's a sentry when the sentry's not there yet. Now, at this point, Gimme is building the gun, but this sniper, and specifically the sniper pace, unintentionally wasted a really good opportunity, probably the best opportunity for a force that blue team's gonna get.
Yeah, and it's just going to be some more pressure. This time, Cormby's going to be the one trying to take some sort of peeks. It looks like he wants to get a pressure in through right. He's got Kateo with a big buff trying to help pressure this guy out, but he eats 2 rockets quickly from Amity. He's just going to back up. Kateo this time still very aggressive. Cormy's going to get his big buff, so is Kateo. And I think Kateo's going to do some pressuring to clear some space. There was a bit of sticky, so Kateo goes in for a bomb, but this time there's a gun. He gets absolutely destroyed.
Oh my god.
2x4 went in for the sack as well, but he didn't get anything. That's 3 down because Cormy decided to go in on Sniper as well. And now it's 3 up on the side of Chief Keef, and they want to take this aggressive exchange. Gundam is very close. She's actually like committed to this. Gimme with the crit, comes out the side, dies to the AT trap, but it forces the Uber.
This is crazy. And then, yeah, and Gundam getting juggle as well. AC-130 just gunning it, holding full W into lobby. Can't get reflashed and dies. Oh my god. Notably as well for that... Ooh, nice little pick there from Kateo. Notably in that pressure into last. I'm not sure which soldier it was from blue, but one of them landed directly on Coin's head. And Coin had the bows out. Ooh, nice force from 2x4. I think that Coin would have used if he could, but just couldn't, and ended up surviving. So with that force, actually, this is now suddenly a great position for Chief Keef. That being said, they do have a sniper, which is no longer really the class you want, because it's no longer that dis-ad. It's juicy ad. But considering only 70% for Gundam means this is going to be 40 ad by the time you push. Yeah. So plenty of ad into last.
Yeah, it was a nice fade initial bomb from Kateo going back into the house, and I think that just caused enough distraction for 2x4 to get enough stuff going. That is a jetpack pyro on the right side, but it doesn't matter. They use to the right. A lot of spam being done by that pyro. The pyro is able to live and resolve. That's huge for them. Normally you have to be very careful with
Ooh, Gundam dies as well.
AC-130 on Sniper, but yeah, there's a few trades happening now. Demo down on the side of Great Friends, but they have the players, and AC-130 still stuck on Sniper, not able to get anything at all. It's
the Sniper.
Cormy and AC-130, and that's going to be probably a full wipe. Cormy escaping for now with 4 HP. He is going to work his way out, so that's going to be... But, excuse me, since Coin died, there's going to be an Uber ad on the side of Chief Keef. Are they trying to take this? No, they aren't trying to take this push in a second, but they are... I think they're going to try to work their 25% Uber.
Yeah. I mean, if you start pressuring Ali early enough, then it's kind of a win-win because you get to see what they're doing, if they're playing passively or not. If they are, you just take it for free. If they're not, then you can play it how you want. Either play the ad or just treat it like a sack. That is not what's happening, however, as 2x4 actually gets caught with the pressure. That is definitely a bit premature of the pressure. If they were going now at like 80-90%, then the other team might think, okay, they have Uber. But going at 60, not so much. Uber actually getting popped with the chase. Yeah, this is definitely some of that potential craziness that we were talking about, because that is certainly not going to work out for Chief Keef.
Yeah, and here comes the collapse. Since Gungan went down, they did manage, 2x4 did manage to get the kill onto Cormy, which is good for them. AC-130 behind, threatening that back out, but it's just going to draw some players back. Actually, never mind, Chocolate in behind himself, and AC-130 gets the kill onto Chocolate. Jello Jiggler not able to clean up AC-130. He actually gets the kill onto Jello Jiggler. It is still behind. He's fighting the scout. Sears does finally clean him up, but wow. Yeah,
still a great play, yeah.
On that push, the attempted Uber from Chief Keef, Cormy and AC-130, they just went completely different directions with that double scout Uber. It was a very aggressive call, but the going the different directions just absolutely killed any chance that Uber had of doing anything.
Oh, look at Gimme.
Yeah, Gimme's already under.
Oh, but just firing chip shots does clean up Cormy. It's getting ignored, actually. Bomb in from Amity. 2x4 will be caught here. So there's going to be 2 kills. Nice re-aggression, actually, from Great Friends. Surprised they were able to do that. And AT as well, caught in house. Down 3. And yeah, Ubers are going to be basically even. So depending on if... Let's see what kind of aggression Great Friends go for, if they will, in fact, deny AT. It's a little difficult to get in position in time. Transitions here on Metalworks from where you would stand on mid and where you would pressure on 2, very far away. So they are just going to treat it as a normal sack with everyone alive.
Yeah, and we're getting into a situation here where it's just going to be those even Ubers. It's on Great Friends to make something
Ooh,
happen.
bomb
2x4
from...
goes for a bomb, but he decides to fade away. No commit. Actually, I think Coin caught a pipe for
Yeah,
a
probably.
lock and load pipe from AT. So he's going to have to back up. He gets the pack, and we'll see some new aggression in here shortly. AT already setting up some traps for the potential high bomb. I think he's just ready for those. AT actually drops Coin with pipes. Oh my goodness.
That's incredible. Amity on the floor here did commit for that bomb as well. Does go down. Kateo did die, but yeah, both soldiers and the medic dead for the red team. Chocolate bombing out. That means you know there's no traps. Some attempted flank shenanigans from Gimme does get 2v1'd down by 2x4 and Cormy. And it's just a free midpoint and full ad. Gonna be half capping and going forward, leaving the rest for Cormy. Getting through the doors, blowing through the doors. Amity has a bomb, actually 2 rockets, AC-130, and is now on Gundam. But AT is here to save the day. And things are a little more sketchy now on 2. But still plenty of ads, so comfortable enough for Chief Keef.
Yeah, it is. I actually took a look back. That was just a bit of extra spam from Kateo, like 60 damage onto Coin, and then 1 lock and load pipe that just absolutely nuked him. That was absolutely absurd. But
oh
it's
man,
now...
they're actually playing this evens. This was still 50 ad. Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
I guess that is important to note that it is going to be into the continuous overtime in 30 seconds. Gimme was on Sniper, but I think he just swapped off, so it's going to go back to that even push. It's 1-1 here. Since there's not going to be enough time for any team to cap in 20 seconds, I would assume. Yeah, there's not going to be enough time. So it's going to be the first team to win this next round will win the next map. Kateo goes for a bomb, gets absolutely destroyed by the chocolate sticky trap preemptively. Amity goes in, and AT is actually alone. It looks like he's going to get caught in his own lower. He does a crazy bomb out trying to leave.
Wow.
Here's the aggressive Uber from the side of,
excuse me, of Chief Keef as well.
Yeah, but Cormy did get a kill to Jello Jiggler, so I think they'll be able to get out. Maybe AC-130 doing a bit of fighting. He's going to get caught out by Gimme and Sears. And it's going to be a leave here from Chief Keef onto their own second, and even Ubers again.
Yeah, this could have been a lot worse. That Uber was looking really horrible for Chief Keef, but somehow they were able to get that force and still get out. And that really stops the bleeding. AC-130 is dead, yes, but as we've seen in sort of transitions and kind of pressure scenarios like this, I mean, once Great Friends are actually through the door, things are great, but getting to the door, they tend to be quite slow. And here, they didn't even make an attempt to pressure that. I guess they don't have Uber yet. Sometimes teams will pause for that, especially since Chief Keef used so much earlier. You expect them to have slight ad, like 10-15%, but I don't know if that's too much of a consideration on this point. Yeah, it looks like they were just waiting for Uber to pressure.
Yeah, and there's the expected trap setup from AT, but... Oh, Cormy actually, with Kateo, does a flank
and Amity's committed. This is 3.
Yeah, huge play here. And Kateo goes in quickly, trying to get a kill. Chocolate also got a kill into Cormy. That was a little too fast pace on the side of the flank from Chief Keef. All they had to do was wait for their combo, and they had a very clean push. It's still 4-on-3, so it might be okay, but 2x4 takes a lot of damage. He's going to back up. Gundam takes a lot of spam as well. AC-130 is trying to get his team in, but just the low players, and I think they have to cancel this due to the spawners. Yeah. Wow, that was a really good play and turned into disaster quickly.
Yeah, I mean, getting 2 kills on the flank, you don't need to push your luck. Oh, and Jello Jiggler just getting the immediate force as well. You don't need to push your luck and then just run at buffed players. Like, you now have 3 extra kills over the team. It's a free midpoint. As long as you don't just both die. And they both died. And this is looking like a pretty easy dry push with ad. 2x4 getting completely shut down. And look at this pace, actually. Already through ramp room. Looking to take it into last already. This is the fastest pace we've seen out of Great Friends so far. And it's going quite nicely. AT's going to be caught. That's such an important kill on the demo. 2x4 just now spawning. Cap time coming in. No stickies on point. Cormy goes down. It's all unraveling. Oh my god. Bombing from Jello Jiggler. A lot of damage on point. Amity getting that last kill, and Sears actually getting a 10k here at the end. Nice little push there from Last to not only take the lead, but take the entire game here.
Yeah, and that's going to be the match. That's going to be 2-0 on the side of Great Friends. They are going to work their way into the upper bracket, or into the grand finals, excuse me. And the loser is going to be knocked down to the losers bracket. They'll face the winner of Super.tf versus Omniside. Taking a look at these logs, I'm curious, but that was actually, the first 15 minutes was the 2 rounds, and then that last round took like, solid 18 minutes. It was interesting, but I can't wait to take a look at these logs.
Yeah, that was honestly a surprising outcome for me, because if you asked me like 5 minutes ago who was winning this tie game, I probably would have said Chief Keef, because they just looked more comfortable on metal in a lot of these situations. They seemed better at pushing last, for example, but all you need is one in a case like that, and a costly flank play turned into a Uber force, turned into a free dry push into second, turned into a really well-paced Uber into last to catch the demo and just win in the post.
Yeah, I'm looking at these logs, and Amity went absolutely nuclear again on this map. And looking at this combined log, which I can't, Amity went absolutely nuclear in this series, going positive on Roamer with a very nice damage ratio. That's really going to help, especially when your Roamer is just putting in so much impact.
Yeah, notably as well, Sears 22-3 with the fewest deaths in the entire server. Just kind of Banny Scout log. And I mean, we're definitely seeing that, not only with the 10 kill streak, just very few deaths, but just a lot of safe plays, just backing up with your medic when things might be going poorly. And a big component of winning is being able to neutralize disadvantages, or kind of rip the band-aid off when things are going poorly, just stop the bleeding, any of the analogies you want to use. And we were seeing plenty of that from Sears.
Yeah, and even looking at the combined logs as well and taking a look. And Sears still in both series because of the 3 deaths on Metalworks. Sears, they have less deaths than everybody else in the entire series, even less than the medics and less than everybody else by a wide margin. Very safe play, and with 51 kills, still had the most kills in the server too. Very well done by Sears. Besides that, the only things I see are like Coin had 2 fewer deaths, 14 versus 16 on Gundam. Coin also had 3 drops though, so I'm surprised that didn't take, that wasn't as big of a factor as it probably could have been. Because usually drops are oftentimes can potentially just end a round straight up off there, but I guess luckily for the side of Great Friends, it didn't really impact anything else too greatly.
Yeah, overall metal was definitely close, and there were plenty of situations where, honestly, if Gundam caught on to the fact that she was just building much better than Coin, and maybe had the confidence to play their slim ads, there were so many cases in which Chief Keef had 40 ads still and played it even into the other teams too, or 30 ad into last. Cases like that where even if you don't want to immediately pop through, you can expect the doors to not really be held so closely, and with the beam to be supporting those players, and maybe you can get space, maybe you can just turn it into kind of a dynamic, aggressive position that favors you.
I mean, it was clearly, I'm looking at the logs, it clearly must have been a conscious effort on some of those plays to hard build, because if you look at the logs,
they're pretty even.
It's pretty even in terms of the time to build, but when it mattered, Gundam was having that Uber advantage, which is very important for pushes, and I think one of the things that kept Chief Keef in this a little bit, even though they weren't really taking advantage of it, it still can really help with giving you that confidence to stay a little bit longer.
I think they were not taking too much advantage of it offensively when they had mid, and when they could have been potentially taking more points with their ad, but defensively it bailed them out a lot, because there were so many cases where, granted, some of it was Great Friends being slow and being slow to push and being slow on those doors. But we saw on Snakewater last, Snakewater second, Snakewater every point, basically, of both of these maps. London was just building really well when it was disad and evening things out like a point earlier than it probably should have.
Yeah, and with that being said, I am curious to see who they face in terms of Chief Keef, because they're definitely not out. They were the second seed. This was the expected outcome in terms of the match, but you know, obviously Chief Keef would have looked to get that the upper bracket advantage. You get one map advantage in a best of 5. And looking at it, Super TF beat Omnicide, so it's going to be in the lower bracket finals. Chief Keef versus Supra.
Okay, and that was actually a matchup that I think I watched last time around. Yeah, I did, sort of. I was loosely paying attention. It was a pretty confident win from Chief Keef, so that's going to be interesting to see. I don't know if it'll get casted or not, but maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Any last notes on that match, or are we good to do shoutouts and kind of send it off?
Yeah, I don't have. There's nothing else really for me. Of course, shout out to Doctors underscore on production, always unsung heroes, production members. But shout out, thank you for casting with me, Wild Rumpus, and of course, shout out to the viewers and the players. This was an enjoyable game. Definitely, even though there were some stalemates, it wasn't like, it wasn't like a constant stalemate the entire time, which can often happen on some of these maps. So it was enjoyable to see that it wasn't always stalemates, and there were a lot of interesting strategies going on.
Yep. Basically agree on everything there, including the shoutouts as well. Nothing else from me. So yeah, that'll close out main upper bracket final. Stay tuned for more coverage here on Fireside in the future, in the coming days, and this weekend for Invite playoffs. Anyway, hopefully you all enjoyed, and we'll see you all next time.